Tom Campbell from Cultaholic.com, joined by the founder of the Superkick Party, Jack the Jobber. It's one thing I learned from the WCPW retrospective.
Sorry, the founder of the Superkick Party.
Yeah, the first victim of a Superkick Party of some...
In the history of wrestling.
In all of wrestling.
No
one else took a Superkick before you did.
Not at all.
I enjoyed the story of that, by the way.
Thank you very much, thank you.
You can listen back to the WCPW retrospective podcast right now on our YouTube channel. It was really, really good listen. Block out 2.5 hours of your day.
We love doing it as well, so it's a fun video. I would highly recommend it.
It's got 100% more Jack in it.
Yeah.
That was the past, and here's the present, here's the news. WWE have shown some interest in a top New Japan star. We have an injury update on Pac, and which UFC champion made his wrestling debut last night. We'll get to that shortly. So we are into the final week of the
Just dropping that down
not meant to be dead, cheeky Devon.
Right.
We're in the final week of the G1 Climax. It's been a good one, hasn't it, sir?
It has been a good one. There's been some very good matches featuring all sorts of exciting wrestlers. I'm not doing an advert for them, I feel like.
All sorts of exciting wrestling. Like 4 3/4, 5-star matches left, right and centre. One guy who has stood out to not just us, but to the WWE this G1 Climax has been Sanada.
Very interesting.
Now, tell us a bit about Sanada. What do we know of Sanada, Jack?
Sonata is predominantly, when it's not G1 time, is often like a bit of a tag team wrestler with Evil. He's in Naito's LIJ stable, but many have earmarked him to be a future star of the company because he's very promising and just seems to have that little intangible kind of star power about him that could lead to big things in the future. Well,
also WWE have acknowledged that there is some star power in Sanada because rumours are circulating that WWE may be about to make him an offer. Now, I also understand through Voices of Wrestling, Jack, that Sanada, whilst he is sort of being touted as possibly like a top guy in New Japan, is currently a free agent.
I didn't know this, but if that's true, then that's very interesting.
It's very scary for New Japan. If that's your guy, you might want to lock him down pretty quickly.
Yeah.
What do you think his chances are if he was to go over to WWE? Because it's been very hit and miss for people joining WWE.
Yeah, just off the top of my head, I'd suggest that maybe it would be really difficult for him. Not because he's not an excellent wrestler, he is an elite level wrestler, but more because I'm just comparing him to another big New Japan star who went over, Shinsuke Nakamura, who has a very overt charisma, he's very over the top, whereas Sonata's like cool factor is a lot more understated, and I think actually, if you translate that over to WWE, it would favour someone like Nakamura a bit more, someone a bit more brash and out there. So I don't know, but it depends what they do with him and how well the fans would take to a more icy, I guess, character rather than the over-the-top Nakamura.
Well, if that's a thing that happens, then it'll be exciting times for Sanada. If it's something that New Japan doesn't want to happen, you might want to lock your boy down because the Stamford Sharks are circling.
He does seem to be involved in at least one further built-in storyline going forwards, because in the G1 recently, as you mentioned off camera, he did pick up a pinfall win over Okada, who is currently the reigning champion, the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. And what tends to happen, sort of by convention, is that if somebody pins the champion in the G1 Climax, none of the tournament matches are for the title, but it will lead to a title match in the future. They'll have a claim on a title match in the future.
Will that be they get a match before Wrestle Kingdom?
Yeah, it would probably be before Wrestle Kingdom because they often try and find things to plug the gap between the end of the G1 and then January when Wrestle Kingdom starts. I very much doubt. I don't even know if he can mathematically win the G1 anymore, Sanada, but there's probably more likely candidates, and they would get the big title shot at Wrestle Kingdom. But I think he would probably, having now pinned Okada, get a title shot at some point down the line.
I think regardless of whether or not he wins the whole thing, I think it's a real statement by New Japan, because Okada very rarely loses to anyone.
Especially Sanada. Sanada's had a bit of a losing streak. I think he was like 0-5 or 0-6 against Okada, and now he's finally broken through. It could signify their intent to really push him going forwards.
Genuinely think whatever happens, 2020 is going to be an exciting year for Sanada. So pro wrestling's favourite Raji Gaji, which is Geordie speak for somebody who's a bit naughty, Pac. Is that right, Jack?
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah. I'm proper proud of myself, like. Pac in the news again today. He was wrestling for TNT Extreme Wrestling on Thursday in Liverpool, had an absolute barnstormer with Jody Fleisch, but saying that Pac's had a good match is a bit like saying the sky is blue. You know,
That's a bit of a cross-generational dream match, that though.
Yeah, but Jody Fleisch has had, in the Brit Rest circle, has had a real resurgence in the last year or so. He's now sort of like him and Johnny Storm, like sort of the old guard that can really still go. And Jody Fleisch proved it against a guy like Pac. Love that sort of thing. Pac potentially picked up an injury during that match, unfortunately, involving a possible groin injury, maybe even a groin tear. It was over the weekend that a picture turned up online and has done the rounds of how bad that injury might actually be. And
very grisly.
Ooh, grisly, I think is the word, Jack.
Yeah, it is.
Try and describe the picture.
Yeah, definitely don't search for it if you're a little bit squeamish, because it is a little bit graphic. He seems fine. His demeanour is absolutely fine in the picture.
Fine.
But yeah, it's like the groin, the upper leg area, and it looks almost like maybe there's a bit of bone sticking through the flesh. It's all torn up. The skin is all torn up, and it's not nice.
But I love the fact that, as you say, he's just sat there, and this Pac is hard as nails, just sat there having a conversation with a bit of bone sticking out of his leg.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. So Pac was going to be part of AEW.
Well, there's
Double
a lot
or Nothing.
yes.
He was taken away from the match because there was some issue about the fact because he was the Dragon Gate champion.
Yeah.
About whether or not he would lose or what have you. So they ended up not working together. But now he is no longer the Dreamgate champion. Ben Kay is, and what a boy Ben Kay is.
Big Ben.
Big old Ben, and which is what his mates call him.
Yeah.
But now he's no longer the champ.
Yeah. He doesn't. He'll be less restricted in terms of booking, because a lot of people realise that when he was the Open the Dreamgate champion, he never lost clean, which is fair enough because, you know, he was loyal to that promotion. They were the ones who really took a shot with him before he went to WWE. I can see why now, having left WWE, being made champion, he'd want to be like, yes, I'm going to be a strong champion for them. I'm going to defend the belt, and I'm never going to lose until I pass it on to their next big babyface. And that's what he's done. And now he might have a little bit more free reign in terms of what people do with him creatively. Whether that leads to him being part of AEW's TV remains to be seen. But you have to imagine that he's like one of their top targets, especially given the Double or Nothing thing that he missed out on.
But this is all, of course, providing they can pop that bone back in.
Oh, yeah.
But this is kind of what's thrown it into a little bit more speculation, because All Out is at the end of this month.
Yes, very soon.
And now suddenly there's Pac sat there with a bit of bone sticking out of his leg.
Yeah.
Like nothing's happened. Get well soon, Pac.
Yes.
And then get over there.
The TV deal starts in October the 2nd, so he's got a little bit longer for that. But All Out is now suddenly, looking a little bit more doubtful.
Triple A's Triple Mania happened last night. They are always ridiculously fun, bombastic shows.
Tom, right, now I've not watched the whole show, I've seen little bits and pieces, but Matthew, our old friend Matthew, mentioned that last year's Triple Mania was like a haven for him because it was full of ridiculous moments, botches, production errors, that's everything that he feasts upon and that gives him life.
He was a hungry monster of botches last year.
This year, he fair play to him, he tweeted saying, look, if you wanted to watch Triple Mania for what you watched it for last year, for all the ridiculousness and the botches, that's probably not going to happen. It was just a really, over the top and ridiculous, but a really fun and good show as well. A lot of people saying it's been one of the best shows of the year so far.
Wow. They'd actually focused it and made a decent show.
Yeah.
And, one of the highlights from that show that a lot of people are talking about is the in-ring debut of two-time UFC Heavyweight Champion Cain Velasquez.
Yes.
Now, Cain Velasquez came down to the ring. He's got himself a nice personal mask. Now he looks badass in this mask. Pulled off a running Hurricane Rana.
Yeah.
Nice. Big old arm drag.
Yeah.
A springboard arm drag takedown as well.
That one was crazy. He jumped and did the hang time thing that people like Phoenix do, where he was like, I'm off the ropes now, I've got a bit of time to pose in the air, going to turn it into an arm drag at the last minute. I was like, who have you been training with? It's crazy.
What if it's not really Cain Velasquez?
Oh, it was though. I did think that as well.
Somebody just drew his tattoo on his belly in crayon.
He showed such a natural aptitude for it. I was shocked. And he's a big guy as well. I mean, he's a former UFC Heavyweight Champion, and they don't fudge the weights in UFC.
No.
He's a big guy. He's not like the tallest, but he's thick. It's 2C.
Thick AF, as the kids say. Not only did he impress the crowd, because the reactions to Cain all night long were incredible, not only did he impress the commentators, listen to some of the commentary when Cain Velasquez is in the ring, just hearing them scream, Cain Velasquez is in the house! It's brilliant. But also impressed the guys backstage. Kenny Omega has said that he looks forward to seeing Cain Velasquez do more of that.
Right.
And even Matt Jackson said that when Cain Velasquez hit the running Hurricane Rana in in the ring, it popped the lads in the locker room.
Oh, yes, popping the boys.
He was popping them boys. It's always good when you come into somewhere new and the guys in the locker room, regardless of what you've done before, like you always want to sort of curry favour with them. So they seem quite keen on him there as well.
I was really shocked by it. I thought he'd have a few, set piece spots that were really set up for him. And I thought the best case scenario would probably be like maybe a sort of Ronda Rousey-esque performance where you can see there's natural talent there, but they're also kind of guided through it by the others in the match. But instead, he was just busting out all these moves. I was so shocked. Also, it just seemed to be a fun show from top to bottom.
Yeah, if you have chance and you have the services, do check out Triple Mania.
It's on Twitch.
There you go, it's on Twitch.
Have a look on Twitch.
You can do that and then you can watch, I don't know, Cad Icarus play Crash Bandicoot for a bit afterwards.
Yeah, Triple Jump. Watch Triple Jump.
Or watch Triple Jump as well. Oh, yes, with 100% watch Triple Jump.
Yeah, those lads.
And finally, we lost Harley Race before the weekend, and tributes have been pouring in across the wrestling world for the 8-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Something that was posted by former WWE star Trevor Murdoch. Caught the eye of the world yesterday. Trevor was trained by Harley Race. In fact, a lot of people say that Trevor Murdoch was one of Harley Race's brightest stars. And what Trevor said was really interesting. Jack's got the quote for you here.
Yes, he said that Harley needed to be transferred from Atlanta to St. Louis. He needed to take a med flight because he was in rough shape. Medicare wouldn't help him. A call was made to WWE, and 10 minutes later, it was paid in full. Vince McMahon never blinked an eye. He wanted to make sure that Harley was taken care of.
That's what a wonderful gesture from.
Yes.
And you do hear stories like this, and I think that WWE tends to get a bad rap for a lot of things, in some cases rightfully so. But there is that vibe that they do look after some of the older wrestlers, and Harley Race, who was such a trendsetter in wrestling,
Yes.
he paved the way for so many people and to do it. The fact that they've spent a lot of money to look after him in those final days, I think says a lot about the class and more about the respect that Harley Race had.
Yes.
I was listening to a podcast with Lance Storm on the subject of sort of like the respect that Harley Race had. He was backstage at an event, and one of the security guards came up and saw Harley Race chatting to the wrestler and said, "Is he meant to be here? Do you want me to go and sort him out?" And Lance Storm said, "I very nearly said, yeah, he's not meant to be here, go and get him." Just because Harley Race would have battered this lad. But we continue to send nothing but love and respect to the friends and family of the 8-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, the late, the great Harley Race.
Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments section down below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter @Cultaholic and on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do, then please do check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Cultaholic, where you can pledge. And don't forget, of course, most importantly of all, to hit subscribe and to join us.